Which is, can you see the slide which is called as the learning objective
Yes,
to
sir.
conducting marketing research?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So we would be looking at the learning objective, which happens to be the scope of marketing research, steps which are involved in conducting a good marketing research, and the best metrics for measuring marketing productivity, which exactly happens to be the cornerstone of marketing research, and we intend to be taking it up in today's session. So, very quickly, let us try to see what exactly we intend to achieve today. Uh, just a quick reminder to all of you. Thank you for joining within the first 5 minutes of the session, because that shows your seriousness for the session. We appreciate that, and let us get underway. I would like to remind that if we value time, we would be trying to cover the amount of pre-decided area that I have in place. Else, it becomes a big problem, and chances are that I might not be in a position to focus my attention to those who are joining late, because then I would get on with the class, and let's get started. So today we'll be taking up a topic called as marketing research, conducting marketing research. And this aspect towards conducting marketing research is a very, very important aspect, and it is important from the perspective of any business management graduate, as well as anybody who exactly is in the corporate world. So organizations also would like to be interested in how marketing research is carried out, so that they are able to take the correct decision towards their products and brands. And we would be looking at the scope and the process involved in marketing research. And I will start with a small caselet as ever, in the context of how marketing research plays a very vital role in the entire marketing frame of reference. So, very quickly, I will be taking up this marketing research case study. Now, there's a company called Venus Razors. This is from Gillette. Uh, I'm sorry, I would not be allowing many people to join, because then it would be disrupting the session. So, just one last person who's joining late, uh, Mohammed Saqib. If you have joined, let me tell you, you have to join within the first 5 minutes of the session. If you are delayed for any reason whatsoever, I think we would have to discount your presence, because we are in the process of a session, and it would be disturbing everybody. Those of you who are joining late, this is for all of you. For the next session, we would not be allowing anybody who's joining beyond 5 minutes, so you have to be there on time. Abu Zair Nasir Khan, or anybody who joined just now, I think please refrain from taking extra time to join the session, because eventually it disrupts the entire flow of the session. So that's about it. We are closing the window for joining, and let's get on with the work that's at hand. So I'm going to be talking about this product called as Venus Razors. It's a part of the Gillette group, and this is a part of the $300 million budget that was taken for developing its first razor. This was designed solely for women, and Gillette conducted extensive consumer research, and it performed numerous marketing tests. Then, on the basis of this research, it came across different pointers. The razor was branded as a Venus, and it was a marked departure from previous women's razor designs. The important aspect was that this was essentially being colored or repackaged version of the men's razors. Earlier, women's razor was basically repackaged or colored only, which was similar to men's razor. But then, after research that was conducted, the marketing research, it reveals that women changed their grip on the razor about 30 times during each shaving session. So effectively, this was an outcome of the research, and that was incorporated into the product. So Gillette designed the Venus with a wide sculpted rubberized handle, offering superior grip and control, and an oval shaped blade in the storage case that could stick to the shower walls. Also, the case was made to hold spare cartridge, that is a blade cartridge, simply because the research also revealed that women were reluctant to leave the shower in order to replace a dull blade. So, when Gillette research revealed these four distinct segments of women shavers, so effectively, this was also an outcome of the marketing research that women were categorized as four different categories of shavers. First, there were perfect shave seekers, that is, no missed hair. Then there were those who were skin pamperers. Then a pragmatic functionalists and easy seekers. So effectively, the company designed Venus product for each of them. Now, this is how marketing research plays a very vital role when it comes to designing products based on the consumer's requirements. That is, whatever is the consumer's requirement, they would convert the entire thing into a marketing research. Out of the marketing research, they would get the information about it and incorporate it in the entire product scheme. So that is why the product, whenever there's a product design, the consumer is in the center of the product. And that exactly is what makes the product actually saleable. So let us look exactly at what is the definition that is there for the marketing research, and that was given by the American Marketing Association. So effectively, American Marketing Association defines marketing research, specifying the information required to address certain issues, designs the method for collecting the information. It goes on to manage and implement the data collection process, analyzes the results, and communicates the findings and their implications. So effectively, this exactly is a function linking consumers, customers, and publics to marketeers through information. And information is used towards identifying marketing opportunities, problems, refining, generating, and evaluating the different actions, and also towards monitoring the marketing performance, also towards improving understanding of marketing as a process per se. So let us look exactly what is the scope of a marketing research. So technically, it is the importance lies in generating insights, how and why we observe certain effects in the marketplace. So why exactly is it that certain products are colored in a specific way? They're packaged in a specific way. They have certain type of pricing, or they are having certain type of designs. All these aspects are actually outcomes of marketing research, which has been carried out by these products to make it viable for the consumers to actually use it. You know, certain type of products are so created that they are kept upside down simply because they help in easy access of the product. So you see, there are so many types of creams which exactly are kept on the top of the lids. The lids happen to be the base, isn't it? So effectively, all these are outcomes of research design. So let us look exactly at the scope. So exactly the question as to who does the marketing research? Now, there are different type of organizations which are doing it. So effectively, every marketing research, if you look at the figure in 2013, there was the marketing research with the contribution was.
Are you changing slide?
Yes.
So we are on learning objectives.
Okay. I'll just try to see why exactly we have not moved beyond that. Thank you for bringing that to my kind attention.
So it has changed now. We are on third slide.
Okay, okay, you're on third slide. So I think there's some sort of a lag with this. Can you see the fourth slide?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so thank you for drawing my attention towards it. I will just repeat that the scope of marketing research happens to be the generating the insights as to how and why we observe certain effects in a marketplace. So is the fifth slide visible? Scope of marketing research?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so who does the marketing research is what we are trying to currently discuss. Now, effectively, marketing research is about $40.2 billion dollar global contribution. This was there in 2013. This was founded by a organization called as SOMAR, that is the World Association for Opinion on Marketing Research Professionals. Now, most companies, they use a combination of research to study the different type of industry, competitors, audience, and channel strategies. Now, the normal budget of marketing research is around 1 to 2% of the company's sales, and they spend a large percent of these services to outside firms. Now, let me tell you that many of you, when you will be going for your summer internship, technically you will be doing generally, especially most of you in the area of marketing would be doing some sort of research called as marketing research. People who would be going in finance would be doing finance research, in operations would be doing operations research, in HR would be doing human resource research. So effectively, this exactly happens to be a very interesting area. And sometimes what happens is these marketing firms, they use interns for carrying out certain type of research insights about their organization, simply because of the fact that you are straight from the academic institution. You exactly are a third person, you are an outsider, you don't have any sort of a bias for that firm, and effectively you are fresh, packed with theory, and you have exactly a very fresh insight about looking at their problems. So effectively you also form an important constituent of elements involved in marketing research. Now, there are certain syndicate services also, which exactly are providing their services. Like, for example, you must have heard about ORG Marg or Nielsen Company or the Kantar Group or the Westat or the IRI. These basically are syndicate firms which are providing these services for a cost. So definitely you find, if you want to exactly apply and you have an interest in marketing and marketing research, you can apply to these type of firms for your career options as well, which exactly are carrying out these different type of research services for the marketing organizations. Now, then we have got certain type of custom marketing research firms. These carry out specific projects and they design to study and report the findings which exactly are there. Now, there are certain specialty line marketing research firms also there. These firms provide specialized research services. For example, is a field service firm which sells field interview services to other firms, which exactly are also there. Did the slide change? Research conducted at small. Okay, okay, just a minute. Is there a change?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay, I would like to.
Sir, I think there is some sort of glitch.
There is some glitch which is there. I think this is having some sort of problem. Google Meet, but I think that was never there with Zoom when I was using. But anyway, yeah. So can you see the slide which has changed now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So research conducted at small companies. I think there's a lag. I think there's a lag which exactly is using multiple platforms. So basically, because Google is actually one of the competitors of the Microsoft, and basically, I think they don't go very well. So when we're using a Google platform and a Microsoft-based module, that is Microsoft PowerPoint, I think there is some sort of incompatibility which is there, which exactly creates, if it's a heavily loaded presentation, they might be having some sort of a problem. I mean, we will try to sort it out someday. Anyway, we will try to go around the corner and sort the issue out. But as of now, let us get started. So research conducted at small companies. Now, you see, as I said, that these engage students and professors. So, there are certain companies, they provide you different type of consultancy services and us also consultancy services. I've done some work for Mahindra. In fact, I have provided them their automobile division. I have done their study on the different type of service utility of their vehicle and the operations toward the logistic management processes for workshop processes in India. I have done a study for them. So I have also done one study for a steel marketing of a steel a steel company which is exactly diversified into a cement manufacturing plant, which basically we were looking at the branding of different type of products vis-a-vis the competitive edge. So effectively, a number of researches is conducted by small company level. Of course, they use internet, they check out rivals, they tap partners' expertise, and they tap employees' creativity also exactly are there in because small companies, they are trying to look at data on an affordable way, and they would not be in a position to reach out to large syndicate companies, provide and handle their operative costs of services, which exactly are very, very astronomical for their entire budget. So effectively, they try to look exactly at a more cheaper alternative and an effective alternative, employing other sources which exactly are more effective as such. Can you see the next slide when I have changed?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you might be seeing something like uh, logo out here, which must be very interesting to some of you. Star Wars, right? So companies may not understand what it is the capable of or what they provide the research to the right problem definition sometimes, and the information from which to work. Now, this may also have unrealistic expectations about what the researchers can offer. Now, sometimes what happens is there is a failure to use marketing researches also properly, and it has led to a number of gaps, including the historic one involving Star Wars. Now you can see that mentioned in the text that is there. That is overcoming barriers to the use of marketing. Many companies still fail to use it sufficiently or correctly. So the amount of money that was invested in this blockbuster actually did not cater to the right segment of the market. And then you see, there was a trilogy. There was a number of sequences that exactly were there for Star Wars, but it never gained the type of reviews that exactly or the box office share or the market share. Star Wars never got the amount of edge that exactly it made towards. Now, this is one of the major failures of marketing research. So you see, all the times we exactly cannot say that marketing research is all the time very going to be very, very effective and so on and so forth. So sometimes what happens is there are aspects of failures also that can actually come into the entire scheme of things. So let us look into something very interesting out here, and that exactly is the marketing research process. So what exactly is the marketing research process all about? Let us try to look into that aspect per se. So can you see the slide?
Yes,
Is
sir.
it visible? Okay.
Very
Yes, sir.
clearly.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. So let us look exactly at the marketing research process. So since marketing research is an activity, of course, it requires a specific process, and we will be looking into the process that exactly is there for marketing research. So we first try to see why exactly marketing research is actually sequenced into these different uh, levels. That is, 7 steps are there. The first step starts with defining the problem and research objectives. This is the most important aspect, that the problem definition is very important towards understanding what is to be researched. It is very important to know what the research has to do with what exactly the research should happen about, and that is what is the content and the scope of the research. So you have to be very clear about the content and the scope, And then why is it researched? This is another important aspect. So what and why is the first important aspect to defining the research objective, that is defining the problem. Then why do you want to get it researched? That is the answer to why is what decisions you have got to actually take out of this research. That exactly forms the reason for this important aspect. Then we come down to developing the research plan. How do we collect the right information? How do we analyze the information? How do we present the findings? And also coming down to the last aspect, that is how do we make decisions out of it? So can you see the next slide, please? I request a voice confirmations. The first step.
No, sir. No, sir.
No, sir. I think glitch happened again.
No problem. Just a minute. I think there's some lag. Okay. Can you see it now?
No, sir. No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. So probably just a minute.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's visible.
Yes, sir. Visible, sir.
Okay. So let us look exactly at defining the problem. Now, marketers must be careful not to define the problem too broadly or too narrowly, simply because of the fact that if you design the problem too broadly or too narrowly, what really happens is that you exactly are having a tunnel vision or a very wide view vision. And that basically, when you have a wide view vision, you might get confused. And when you have a tunnel vision, you might miss on something which is exactly a very, very important. So, and that was left to be attended. We also use it in statistical terms as alpha error or beta error. But we'll be looking at these aspects when we'll be discussing about the marketing research processes. I would not load you with all that information as of now, but defining the problem is a very important aspect, and it helps to design the research, and management first spell out the decisions that they may face, and you can always try to do a work backward. That is, you start from what exactly is the results that you want, what decisions you want to take, and then from there you can go down backward to deciding what is the actual problem. Now, you must understand that marketers and marketing researchers, they have to have very, very clearly laid down specific research objectives. Some research is exploratory, that is, you want to explore new things, okay? That is, you want to identify new problems and suggest possible solutions. While some of them is descriptive, that is, you want to see quantitative demand, that is, you want to quantify the demands. Like, for example, I would say that how many people would buy this flavor of ice cream if it is introduced, or how many of them would pay an extra money for using a internet service when you're traveling in a train. Let's say if you're given a Wi-Fi services for a specific cost, how many people would actually purchase it? Now, some research also is called as causal. Now, causal research means it's a cause and effect. That is, if this happens, then what? If this happens, then what? Let's say, for example, if I use a specific type of a flavor, how many people will buy this sort of a product? If I use another sort of a flavor, how many people will buy this sort of a flavored drink? So effectively, this is actually a causal research. So you can have an exploratory research, you can have a causal research. Now, these exactly are going to define the decision alternatives and also defining the research objectives. That happens to be the first important aspect. Now, I'm going to shift to the second slide. That is step number 2, developing a research plan. So let me know if you can see the second slide, then I will proceed. Otherwise, I'll fix the glitch if there is any.
Not yet, sir.
Can you see the second slide?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
There's a lady on an aeroplane. Defining the.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It is not fully visible, sir.
So it's not fully visible. Okay, now?
No, sir.
No, sir.
It is
But just
No, sir.
So,
I can see it.
okay.
Aeroplane is visible.
Sir, just minimize just.
Sir, I think it's Jim
The
Zoom in the picture.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. What happened? Now, we are actually not having 5G connection as of now. So I cannot expect the same level of transmission rate at every place at the same time. If you can just give me one second, I'll just take a call. Okay, okay.
Sir? Sir गए.
Oh yes, go ahead.
Sir, are you there?
Can you call me a bit later? I'm in the middle of a class, please, right now. Thank you. Sorry for the inconvenience we had. So I would like to just seek a confirmation that if you are able to see the second slide, that is step 2, developing the research plan.
No, sir.
Not yet?
Sir, zoom out. It is
Yes, what happened?
a bit zoomed. It is sir zoomed up from here to the side.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is zoomed. Sir, I can see it.
Okay, can you see it now?
Yes, sir. A woman in a plane listening song.
Oh yes, that's basically we all are hearing the song. I can hear the lovely song because all of you are singing the song, and we cannot actually proceed on. Anyway.
Yes, sir, but not
Exactly at
the
important
picture
shoot
is not fully
towards-
visible,
Sir,
sir.
edit it
It's
down.
zoom in. It's zoom in. You have to
Okay,
zoom
okay,
it out.
okay. I want you to focus on the text, please. Okay, I want you to focus
I
on
have
the
sent this
text.
picture in the WhatsApp group. You can check there.
Sir,
I have
only
sent the
image is
picture.
visible.
Okay. I'll do that for you right away. I'll just check the WhatsApp because what exactly is the issue? Okay. So not a problem. We actually I have right now made it into a full screen. That is the presentation mode, and I think right now can you see it? Hello.
No, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, it is
still same.
See this? I can see this.
Okay.
Sir, it is
Not a
fine.
problem.
It is fine. It
Like
is
from the
fine.
last 10 minutes, I'm able to see this picture.
Okay. Excellent. If you can see the picture, I'm more than happy about it. Thank you very much. Let us look exactly at the content. What basically I'm trying to tell you is about the developing the research plan. This is about the data sources. That is, when do we use a data source which is primary, or when do we use a data source which exactly is secondary, is what I'm trying to basically focus on as of now. So let us look exactly at the data sources. We exactly would be looking at the primary and the secondary data source, and we intend to be seeing when exactly primary data is used and when exactly secondary data is used. So effectively, data, if it is collected for some purpose and that purpose was solved, but that data is still there and we want to use that same data for another purpose. So that exactly is called as secondary data. But the data which is collected for a specific reason for the first time, this is called as primary data. Now, generally, we start the investigating by examining the rich variety of low cost and already available secondary data, because this data was already collected. So let's say, for example, if you go to organizations for doing your summer training, so somebody who's done a summer training last year must have collected some data, and if you use that data is called as secondary data. But then the problem that you'd be discussing, you'd be trying to explore, is going to be the first time. Now that data, which was a secondary data collected last time, and you're using it again for comparing with, let's say, the data that you collect with this year and change of the customer perception or the marketing product change or use or the brand change. So effectively, you're using secondary data, and some data that you'll be collecting the first time, that would be primary data. So when the need for data does exist and the data is unreliable, then we have to collect primary data. Most marketing research projects include primary data collection processes. So when you design a questionnaire to collect the data, technically what you're going to be doing is you're going to collect primary data. So some of the research approaches are observational research, focus group research, survey research, and behavioral research. These exactly are some of the different type of research processes which exactly are used. So let us look exactly at the research instruments. Can you see developing the research plan in your screens?
No,
Step
sir.
2.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. I will be shifting to this element as of now. So can you see it now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Instruments.
Questionnaires and qualitative measures.
Yes. Developing the research plan. So effectively, we would be trying to use certain instruments for developing the research plan. Yes.
So only two are available.
Huh?
So only two research instruments are seen.
Research institutes? No.
No, research
Research
instruments.
instruments.
Only two are visible, sir.
So on your screen there is a plus minus button on the lower right side. So sir, if you can
Okay.
zoom out.
No. I'm actually using the full screen mode. It is like I actually am using the entire display mode. So there's no question of plus and minus. I cannot zoom in and zoom out. Actually, it's not the zoom control that exactly I'm looking at. I'm going on the slideshow. So technically, you should be looking at the slideshow only. So if you're not looking at the slideshow, just let me know.
It's not playing exactly.
Sir, it's
Okay.
too much zoomed up, so we are able to see half of the slide only.
Sir,
Okay. What I'll do is I will take it. So can you see it now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now
Yes,
it's
sir.
fine.
Yes, sir.
That's
Now it is
fine.
completely visible.
Okay. Thank you. So let us look exactly at the research instrument. So basically, we've got three categories of research instrument. One is questionnaires, that you have different type of questions which are created to explore the problem. Then we have the second one, which is called as qualitative measures, that we exactly use different type of techniques. Like, for example, we use a focus group interview, that is, or we gather 6 to 10 people and look into there. We have a discussion with them. We have certain questions. We try to uncover certain type of answers. Effectively, this is how we also use certain technological devices. Like, for example, we use cameras to catch the interest of the users and look exactly how their facial expressions are. Now, this is an example of a questionnaire. Can you see that in your screens? A questionnaire?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is a type of a questionnaire which exactly you have different type of questions. Like, for example, on the left hand side, the name that could be dichotomous with two possible answers, whether it's whether you are awake or whether you are asleep. So you can have a yes or a no, or you can have multiple choices questions. Like, for example, whom are you traveling on this flight with? Are you traveling alone, or you're traveling with children, or we traveling with a spouse, with your friend? Or isn't so you can have more than two answers that you can actually do. Then there's a Likert scale, that is, you have got a range of answers from strongly disagree to strongly agree. Then there was a semantic difference. Like, for example, between large and small, you can have anywhere you can mark, and that would give a percentage of your association with that sort of a question. Also, you have got some sort of an importance scale, rating scale, and intention to buy scale. Also, you've got certain open-ended questions, like what is your opinion about Air India? If that could be an open-ended question, you can have so many different type of options or word association and so on and so forth. Now, these are exactly the different aspects of questionnaire. Now, we would be looking exactly at certain qualitative measures. Now, these qualitative measures are basically visualization, projective techniques, word association, ZMAT, laddering, and brand personification. You'd be looking at all these things in a much later day. Now, I was talking about technology. trying to technological devices. Now, these exactly could be, if you're trying to measure, like, for example, one of the studies that I'm currently guiding is all about neuromarketing. Now, neuromarketing is involving some sort of marketing involving the neuropsychosis of individuals, like what exactly goes inside the brain of a person when exactly certain impulses are given to him. So I'm basically working on this as a project of neuromarketing right now. So effectively, the use of technological devices for gathering information for marketing purposes is basically the per se focus per se. So you see, there are certain technological devices like, for example, actinoscope, eye tracking, facial detection, skin sensors, brainwave scanners, audiometries, and GPS. So you see, just your simple camera, that is your webcam. With that webcam, I can have a program, and then I just by looking at your face and the reaction that I capture from your expressions of your eyebrows or the position of your eyeballs or the iris, expansion of your iris or dilation of your iris or the movement of your nostrils or your movement of your lips or your cheeks, I can actually find out what is the reaction that is going in your mind based on the impulse that's exactly generated out of certain information that I put forth to you. These are basically the use of certain technological tools. That is why we say that whenever you are opening your laptop, and you have to be very careful with your this webcam. So Lenovo, they basically came up with a shutter. Like, for example, I can create a screen. I can create a sort of a program which will actually activate your webcam the moment you switch on, and then I can record your facial expressions to know about certain data that I want to observe on the basis of the web page that exactly I'm presenting to you. So this exactly is one way of gathering information without your knowledge. That is why we say that we have got to look into the privacy concerns, which is exactly a very, very serious aspect, specifically in the context of big data that exactly is available as of now. So let us look exactly
Excuse me,
at.
sir.
Yes.
Sir, is this legal to collect data from web cameras and?
Oh, yes, a very interesting question that you've asked. It is highly illegal unless and until I seek your consent. So this is actually a crime. And we got to respect. There are many issues like ethical issues and legal issues. We will be looking into it in marketing. And we have to adhere to the legal and ethical issues because we have to look at the privacy of your consumers. And privacy must not be compromised at any cost of time, but many people are doing it. They are sharing information without your knowledge, and that is exactly not good. That is ethically and morally not correct to encroach into the personal space of your consumer or customer without their knowledge or without telling them how their data would be actually used. We will be addressing these issues at a much later perspective, but I think we have got a class till 55 or 50. Can you just tell me the class is still 50 or 55?
55, sir.
Okay. So we still have time. Anyway,
Sir, I have a
so
question.
yeah, shoot.
Sir,
Please.
you talked about neuromarketing. Is it similar to subliminal marketing, sir?
Actually, we try to look at the neurotic orientations of the impulse generated out of the neurons and how exactly does it translate to the different type of facial expressions or behavioral control of the individual and assisting in trying to find out the reactions that exactly is transmitted, and that will help me at what type of neuro marketing tools and technique and impulses that I can generate for different type of ads, which exactly is going to give me a response that exactly I want. I can actually program the responses of my consumer and make him or her buy certain type of products by the different type of tools and techniques that I'm going to use, or words or symbols or graphics that I'm going to actually impact. So I'm going to sensitize the audience. That is the objective. So how exactly organizations are doing that is basically one of the aspects. I don't know about is specifically about the aspect that you're covering. We exactly are picking everything from literature on the basis of the different studies and which have been done in the past and are exploring those dimensions. So probably I can look into that aspect later and address to you. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, excellent. So let us go down to developing the research plan. Okay, so here you can see that we are talking about sampling plan. Now, sampling plan consists of three dimensions, that is sampling unit, sample size, and sampling procedure. So sampling plan is whom should we survey. Unit. This sampling unit within sampling plan is about whom we should actually go out and survey. Sample size is how many people should be surveyed, and how should we choose the respondent is all about the sampling procedure. So if you collect the right information from the right person, who exactly is the right candidate, this is all about sampling plan. We've got different type of contact methods. It could be by mail, by telephone, by personal interviews, or by online. Now, online research has gained a lot of importance because there are certain advantages and disadvantages. Towards advantages, it is inexpensive, very vast, very fast, honest, thoughtful, and versatile. While there are certain disadvantages, like for example, it could be skewed, it is small, it could be excessive turnover could be there, technological problems as we are right now facing, technological inconsistencies could be there, or the same person giving multiple responses, or spamming could be done, or it could be disturbing the person. Many times we get really disturbed. So here we are going to be looking at collecting the information, analyzing, presenting the findings, and making decisions. Now, a good marketing research should have these 7 dimensions. One of you raised the concern that was ethical marketing, that is the 7th one, that exactly has been attended here. So the 7 characteristics of a good marketing research is that scientific method. Effective marketing uses principles of scientific method, careful observation and formulation of hypothesis, prediction and testing. Then research is done creatively. Multiple methods are used, and also interdependencies of models and data, the value and cost of information, healthy skepticism, and ethical dimension, so that people are not harmed. We do not annoy, we do not increase resentment, or we do something which is called an invasion of their privacy, or a disguised sales pitch, or do not force them to buy certain products. We exactly have an unbiased orientation. We should not have a biased orientation about our objective. So this exactly are the characteristics of a good marketing research. So looking down at the measuring, we exactly would be talking about something, the productivity measurement towards marketing. We'll be using something called as marketing metrics, marketing mix model, and also marketing dashboard. So I would be talking about something on marketing metrics. There are simple sample marketing metrics, external and internal. They actually help marketers quantify, compare, and interpret performance. So we would be looking into these parameters as well. Towards how do we go about the external and internal parameters, and then we would be looking at the marketing mix model. Now, marketing mix model is going to be analyzing something which exactly is towards a deeper understanding. Marketers conduct different type of multivariate analysis, such as regression tests. They try to sort through each of these marketing elements which exactly influence the marketing outcomes, such as brand, sales, and market shares. So they're from different sources, like for example, retailer scanner data. So whenever you're going to buy, you're basically certain data is scanned out of the products. They have a barcode or a QR code that is exactly scanned to capture the sales related information. But that exactly is actually translated into different marketing mixes. We will be talking about the 4 marketing mixes: product, place, price, and promotion. So, but they would be basically captured. The data is captured from the consumers to actually affect the different type of marketing activities. Now, coming down to the marketing dashboard, we would be looking at a concise set of interconnected performance drivers to be viewed throughout the organization. Like, for example, customer performance scorecard or the stakeholders performance scorecard. These exactly are the dashboards which exactly are also giving certain type of metrics about how the customers are actually. Sir, in a class, I'm just closing. I'll just, bus 2 minutes, sir. So, sorry for the disturbance. So effectively, customer performance scorecard and stakeholder performance scorecards are the 2 marketing dashboards which exactly are there. Now, I'm going to be talking about something which is called the sample customer performance scorecard measures. That is a percentage of new customer to average number of customers. lost customers to the average number of customers, win back customers to the average number of customers. That is how many customers actually you had new, how many you lost, how many you got back. Customers falling into the dissatisfied, satisfied, neutral, or satisfied, or very satisfied category. So within how many people that is happen to be your customers and who exactly are satisfied to dissatisfied, or who would repurchase the product, or who would recommend the product, or who exactly have a brand awareness or recall, or the customers who say that the company's product is the most preferred in the category, and so on and so forth. So these exactly are the different type of performance scorecard measures that exactly can be used to rate information. Now, this is exactly an example of a marketing dashboard for you to see. That is, this can be done by a marketing information system. So electronically, we can capture the pulses of the market on the basis of the customer response, and that can be projected in terms of the different type of brands that exactly are there. So we can do a comparative analysis of the brands and the different type of products and how exactly that exactly moves within the brand share of the customer. So this exactly is representative to take different type of decisions for organizations, and that exactly is the outcome of marketing research. So effectively, very quickly, let us go down to the 7 steps of marketing. And that basically 7 steps is all about defining the problem and research objectives, converting it into a research plan, collecting information, analyzing information, presenting the findings, and finally making the decision. So this is the aspect towards marketing research process. I would like you to actually go down and read the supplementary text for supporting your knowledge acquisition in terms of this aspect of the content. So with this, I think we can be coming to an end of the session. It's about 12:56 by my watch, which is exactly is visible on the screen. And with this, I think we'll call it off a day. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you,
That's about it for the day.
Thank you, sir.
I would request the volunteers to
Thank you,
please
sir.
present the attendance for the day. Thank